flexing, rolling through the SWAT. Repping for the city, hear him in the parking lot. Houston written across the jersey, ain't gon' never stop. Just fans got me tuning in, waiting for the drop. Astros, Texas, Rockets, Dynamo, they coming with it. When they pull up, got the city sitting on a fitted. Straight up A-Leaf, hold it down, ain't gon' never quit it. Just fans got me tuning in, let my dogs get it. Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans.
How's it going, everybody? It's Carlos, one of your hosts of the Just Fans Podcast, and I'm here along with good Lord Rios. I can hear you all the way over here. Let me mute his mic. With Poppy. How's it going, Poppy?
What's good, guys? What's good? Football is back in Houston.
That's right. And then we got the one and only Carl from the Thy and Smi Podcast, the Bears podcast, right?
Yes. How's it going, guys?
And then we got Rios, who's actually at the game right now. Sorry, Rios, I have to mute you. You can come off mute whenever, just because I think there's a lot of there's a lot of feedback coming up for your microphone. So, hey, man, really quick, we're only going to do like a 30-minute showdown. Just wanted to list the inactives for the Texans: John Mechie, MJ Stewart, Damian Pierce, linebacker Jamal Hill, Juice Scruggs, and Rashad Weaver. And I think for the Bears, you got okay.
I've got the inactives up. I've got you. Right, they just announced that wide receiver / kick returner, who no longer should be the kick returner, Velus Jones, he will be inactive. And then big one for you guys, Keenan Allen inactive, backup tackle rookie Amagaji, fullback Blossomgame, linebacker Noah Sewell, and then defensive lineman Dominique Robinson will all be inactive.
I'm kind of surprised because of the I think it was like an MCL sprain that Odunze is actually playing, Rome Odunze.
Yeah, I mean, he got rolled up on, and after he got rolled up on, he actually played, I think, the very next play or a play after that.
Wow. Okay.
But on that next play, he just didn't look himself, and he hadn't practiced, I think, the entire week. But he was running routes this morning, apparently, or earlier today, and he looks to be full go.
Awesome. There you go. All right, man. So let's get a small little preview real quick. So last week against the Colts, CJ threw for 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, and had a 115.9 rating, while Caleb Williams had 93 yards, 3 yards per average, and then 55.7 rating. What were your thoughts of Caleb Williams' debut against the Titans last week for you?
So Caleb Williams, I think of course, Poppy, of course. Caleb Williams, I think, said it himself, right? He said if he connected on 5 throws, or maybe even less than that, I'll say 2 throws, his stats look astronomically different. He missed a wide open Keenan Allen down the sideline. I don't think it would have been for a touchdown. Maybe it could have been. But that's another 50 yards that he missed out on there. And then Keenan Allen himself had a dropped touchdown pass from Caleb Williams. So could have been 2 missed touchdowns on 2 throws. If you're looking at a debut of like 175, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, that'd be like Bears fans would put him back on his Hall of Fame trajectory. So the stats never tell the full story, in my opinion. Overall, it was less than desired, but I don't think anyone on the Bears, beat, whatever you want to say, is panicking just yet.
All right. Poppy, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, from what I saw, I was expecting a little bit more offensively with all the weapons that obviously the Bears have. We talked about it in the preseason. Like, the Bears on paper look, as a good matchup against almost anybody in the league. It's just going to come down to whether or not that, the quarterback is that missing piece to make it all work. We talk about a lot of game managers in the league, but a team like the Bears, who are in a transitional period where they're like kind of like in a limbo area where like they could compete, but are they good enough to compete type of thing? Somebody like a Brock Purdy, I feel like would do wonders for a team like this. But it was only Caleb's first game at home. They ended up with the win, right? Today against the Texans on the road, he needs to deliver. He needs to.
Okay.
How many games before the Bears start panicking?
How many more games like this? Like the performance that he had?
Like week 1, yeah.
If it happens the next 3 games, I'll say so through 4 weeks, right? Because
I feel like if week one was a loss, I don't know.
I mean, Bears fans would freak out regardless. I mean, a lot of people have said this, and I totally agree, is that you shouldn't really have any expectations, week one in the NFL, because especially for a team with a rookie quarterback, with a new offensive coordinator, with 3 primary starting new tools, with that being Keenan Allen, actually 4. Rome Odunze is brand new to the offense as well. He's a rookie as well.
Yeah.
And then DeAndre Swift is new. You know, running back's job is not as hard as you guys saw with Mixon. He can just come in and perform. But the one thing that the Bears did that I think the general manager just now earlier alluded to, Gerald Everett is a tight end that they signed who I thought on paper would be an okay tight end 2. He actually played more snaps than Cole Kmet. And Cole Kmet, in my opinion, is a top 10 tight end in the NFL. So they need to fix the personnel groupings, because there is a lot of also Travis Homer. He played almost like every single third down snap for the Bears. They got to figure that out. You pay the players, and the good players should play, and that simply was not what happened in week 1.
Rios, I want to get your thoughts on this. We'll get you off of mute real quick. What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams' performance against the Titans?
People's expectations were a little out of whack. Like, they expected him to go out there and play like Mahomes. He's a rookie. He played like one. Titans defense was, surprisingly pretty stout against the run, and they were pretty decent in coverage as well. And they almost forced him to a few errors. I think this defense, though, is going to give him a run for his money.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough out there for him.
Do you guys have the numbers up? How many turnovers did C.J. Stroud have last year? Was it only 5?
Interceptions, I believe
5 interceptions, and I think like 4 fumbles or 3 fumbles.
Okay, so not even 10 turnovers in a season. As a Bears fan watching Rex Grossman, I'm an expert on turnovers. That was an exceptional season from C.J. Stroud last year. But I do think Rios is right in the sense that this Bears defense will hopefully be just a little bit different than the Colts defense, who, by the way, today got obliterated on the run.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
How do you feel about the O-line for the Bears? Like, how much of last week was on them, you think?
So, a couple things. It's kind of a loaded question, I guess. The people in the Bears corner have always been consistently worried about the interior offensive line. I think that Tevin Jenkins has all-pro potential, and he actually had an awful game against the rookie T'Vondre Sweat, which honestly floored me. I mean, Tevin Jenkins is in a contract year, and Tevin Jenkins, did something in the diaper that he regrets. It was a really bad performance. And I also thought that Ryan Bates, the offensive lineman who I was penciling in when we last talked as the center, he also was like a rotational piece that came in for Nate Davis. He didn't perform well and actually is on IR now. And Coleman Shelton, who he had that one bad low light where he actually tripped on Tevin Jenkins, but it looked like either Simmons or Sweat blew him up and just shoved him down. That part of the offensive line was a big question mark, but I do think that their tackles played pretty good. Specifically, Darnell Wright, I don't really even know if he played or not, from the sense that he didn't have any bad plays. So that normally means for an offensive line that he had a really good game. So it's really interesting that the strength of the Bears' offensive line, their tackles with Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, they're going to be going up against the strength of your guys' defensive line, which is your edge rushers with
Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr.
Yep.
I want to give you guys some credit. You guys, now, of course, you did have a lot of help from Will Levis. The Bears defense did help
honestly, it made them look, like the Titan, the Bears defense looked incredible against.
They looked like the '85 Bears out there.
Yeah, they really. It was like a lot of your old
you guys
were excited. Like, we're back.
Yeah. No, the last time the Bears went to the Super Bowl was 2006, and that was the trademark of that team was defense and special teams.
I was like 2 years old back then. It doesn't count.
Interesting. Okay.
So you guys did hold the DeAndre Hopkins to 8 yards, Calvin Ridley to 50, and then Tyler Boyd to 18 yards. Like, you guys shut them down.
That's another matchup I wanted to mention was I think that we talked last time about the wide receiver groups being who could be better. Obviously, Keenan Allen's not going to be a factor tonight specifically, but the Bears defensive backs, specifically their starting cornerbacks with Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon. That's a fascinating matchup against your 3 wide receivers, who I believe are all healthy or at least playing tonight.
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of steadying that comes from this tape tonight. I think it's going to be something that, when you're looking to play the Texans, you're going to say, how did they cover the Texans? When you're attacking the Bears defense, what did the Texans do to attack the Bears defense? It's going to be a really fun chess match.
It is, and I think that what's going to help out a lot is Nico Collins. I'm sorry, not Nico Collins. Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is going to be a big factor, just because what happened with last week with you guys, and I think y'all held Tony Pollard. Pollard to like 82 yards, and so I think obviously Joe Mixon's a lot more different than Pollard, And so I think with a mixture of Mixon going in there, I think it's going to make it easier for CJ to target one of any of those 3 receivers.
Yeah. And ironically, I think that's the key for the Bears. DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift was a player they brought in and had high expectations for, because he ran for 1,000 yards behind the Eagles' offensive line, which Rios, Poppy, anyone here could do. But if they stray away from the running game.
Is that an underhanded compliment?
It's a compliment. It's a compliment.
Okay.
No, but in all seriousness, the Bears need to stick to the run game, because that's probably what the Texans want to do. They want to stop the run and turn the Bears into a one-dimensional team, so that their fantastic edge rushers can attack Caleb Williams. So,
okay, Poppy, I know you were going to say something. My fault. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to jump on the same point. Like, Joe Mixon last game was a game changer. Obviously, Diggs got the touchdowns, and Nico made some clutch catches for a lot of yards. But Joe Mixon was indeed the player of the game. He basically has, with the Miko system, the run game that was basically non-existent last year. We were basically preying on Singletary to make something out of nothing, because Pierce wasn't getting nothing out of nothing. But Joe Mixon came in and ran for 150 yards like it was nothing, man. I know it's the Colts who, last week defensively they looked pretty solid. This week, atrocious.
They got gashed on the ground.
Yeah, fuck the Colts.
We had talked about it on our other show. We had mentioned it's going to be the Josh Jacobs show, and it was. They had
it really was. It really was.
Yeah. Rushing.
Yeah, but that showed me that the Texans are actually, kind of like what you said, not a one-dimensional team, right? So,
right.
And with how dynamic, CJ can be and all of the weapons can be, I feel like it's going to be a really fun matchup. I'm especially looking at your secondary, Carl. I want to see exactly how we match up. I feel like nobody's going to have an outstanding game. I am very wary of CJ throwing his first pick of the year, though. I don't know.
The Bears have been, dare I say, untraditionally or uncharacteristically aggressive. I don't know how you guys, we talked about your offensive line and how CJ Stroud elevated the play, but I think he got hit or got sacked a couple times against the Colts.
He got sacked 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It's the pass defense is a little bit.
A couple of the times he slipped, so some of those sacks were because of him slipping.
Yeah, and a lot of the sack numbers can always boil down to a technicality, a half sack here, whatever the case is. But the Bears we've been seeing the Bears bring a nickel blitz. And Kyler Gordon might be the best in the NFL at a nickel blitz. So watch out for that. That's something to keep an eye on. If he's able to get, some pressure as he's releasing the ball, that could be just like what happened with Levis.
All right. Let me see what else. So what I'm wondering is I like going back to what you guys were talking about the corners. That's one thing that I'm really looking forward to, just because I want to see how the Bears are definitely going to have a little bit more of a test than last week than than you guys did with Will Levis. DJ, yeah, you have a quarterback that can be accurate and I think minimize the mistakes that Levis did. Today there in particular there was he lateraled the ball and I think Jets recovered it and I think Shanahan was pissed at
the Titans gave the game away to the Jets. Honestly,
it did. And so
That was a winnable game for them, but
it was.
Again,
I actually thought they were gonna pull it out of the bag like around halftime. I was like, oh, maybe the Titans are cooking something. You know, maybe if they can start 1-1, you know, it's okay.
they're cooking hot dog water.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So the Texans last week they actually held Jonathan Taylor to pretty low yardage. Do you think they'll do the same thing against Swift today?
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't say that the Bears view Swift as like this iconic, you know. This is a question I have for you guys first.
Sure.
Joe Mixon had how many carries last week? Was it over
30.
that or under over 30?
It was 30.
30 on the spot, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the Bears ever envisioned DeAndre Swift having 30 touches in a game.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Swift is good at catching the ball. He would probably be more in line of like a 20 touches a game guy where he gets 10, 15 runs and then the rest catches maybe a screen here and there, whatever the case is.
I can see
But the
that.
Bears have to stick to the run, whether that's Swift, Herbert, or Roshan Johnson. Unfortunately, it cannot be Ian Wheeler, which is a tragedy. But yeah, I mean that's a thing that they have to stick to. And I wanted to ask about Joe Mixon. We can get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Just specifically, I mean, do you think that Mixon is a player who will be able to sustain that workload of 30 touches a game for a season?
Yeah, it's pretty durable. I think in the last
Real,
six
go for it.
I think in the last 6 seasons he's missed maybe a handful of games. Like he's a very durable back. He got a lot of touches every year, not just out of the backfield, but as a receiver as well.
Right.
I think playing behind a better offensive line, we should probably see similar production that we saw last week. Maybe not in every single game he's going to rush for 150, but he's going to have at least, all-purpose yards, at least, 15, 1,600 yards this year.
See,
Okay.
I think that because of how the turf was last week, both quarterbacks were having a hard time, setting their feet. I feel like the ball was run a lot more. And we're going to see it today. Pierce is not playing. Probably Cam Akers is going to get the nod. So I feel like him and Mixon are going to share the ball quite a bit on the run game. And having somebody like Cam Akers who, like during preseason, really impressed as far as running backs go, I feel like throughout the season, Joe Mixon obviously is going to continue to be RB1. Or did they just win? Field goal?
They just won.
Yeah.
You're seeing it.
Yeah, they just won.
Of course. Fuck the Chiefs. I don't know if I've ever said that.
By a point too. It was by a point.
But
25,
I feel like with them too, and maybe Pierce, if he can get it together, I don't see Joe Mixon having to, have 30 carries every single game.
Nah, yeah, that's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. They're gonna have to share the workload because you have, like I said, Cam Akers. If Pierce isn't playing, Pierce was deemed running back. He was RB2, but that's still a little.
I mean, last week wasn't a bad showing. He
Yeah.
just didn't have a lot of carries either.
Correct. But now, you got the versatility of Cam Akers, who turned heads around here in Houston during the preseason, who fits the system pretty well as well, like Joe Mixon. I think they're going to be sharing the workload with him, as well as Awundawale as well. So I think as far as I think today it is not sustainable to have Joe Mixon run 30 times per game. Eventually, it's going to wear down on him. But honestly, if you can share the workload with Cam Akers, I think you're going to see some Cam Akers today. I didn't see him in the inactive report, so most likely, I'll see him on there. So look out for Cam Akers too to share the workload with Joe Mixon. Honestly,
and then let me pile on to that. So it sounds like you guys think the world of Joe Mixon. Why do you think the Bengals just gave him away? Because they traded him for just a 7th round pick, right?
Because they fucking suck.
That's not wrong. You're not wrong.
Well, with the Bengals, because they paid Burrow, they're going to have to pay either Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, or
Chase
one
won't
of the
be
two,
this
but-
year. But
Yeah, but they just couldn't afford him, and I guess they figured out, he's 27, he's over the hill at this point, running back
For
years.
running backs, yeah.
But I think
Do you think they kind of did right by him though? Because obviously the Texans are a team who are not going to be contending for the first
Yeah, I
overall
think they
pick.
did right
They're
by
going to
him
be
to
going
them.
for the playoffs.
Yeah, no, they sent him to a Super Bowl contender. So
Heard it here first, Texans fans.
yeah. So So nonetheless, really quick before we move on to our next thing, I do want to tell you guys, thank you obviously for coming and joining us. Please follow Ty. Please follow these guys at Thy and Smi, just like you see it there at the bottom on their
Brandon knows
X
what's up.
and their YouTube account. I believe it's the same. You guys have an Instagram account? I can't remember if you guys did.
No, we're not on Instagram. We probably should. Technically, we're on TikTok. I mean, we don't really
nice.
release TikTok.
How are you on
anymore.
TikTok but not Instagram, bro? Come on.
Do y'all do dances?
Yeah.
Hey,
with the Texans
Rios,
cheerleaders.
don't make us pull up the
Don't
clip.
make us put that video of you dancing,
Don't
Real.
make us pull up the clip, Rios.
Hey, I did that for work.
That
first
sounds
of
like a
all.
fantastic
no.
idea,
You-
guys.
That was
I would
for
love
work.
to see some Rios dancing, if I'm honest. So.
I mean, if that's what you want to call it, it's like wasn't it the Wednesday dance, Rios?
Yeah, we did it for work.
Dude, I don't know what job it is. They could not pay me enough. They could not pay me enough.
Exactly.
I mean, my
So-
job got me a house, so it pays enough.
Oh, look at you getting resources from your workplace. Okay.
Any money laundering going on here? At
Yeah,
Justin's
exactly.
Yeah, I
podcast?
think so. I think
Yeah.
so.
All right, so let's
I
go
wish.
quick. So we got like 10 more minutes. Let's go. Let's do some score predictions real quick.
right.
For the game. We'll start off with Poppy. What do you think? Score predictions today, and anything else you think that may happen?
I know on our show a few days ago I made a prediction. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was like at least a 2-possession game for the Texans.
Okay.
I think I said what, like 31-13 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be like that. I feel like unless the only way that the Texans don't run away with the victory today is if both the Bears defense and Caleb Williams both get it together, like at the same time. Because I feel like if the defense works well, but Caleb doesn't figure it out, I feel like the Texans still get away with the win, and vice versa. If Caleb figures it out, but the Bears defense sucks, then I feel like the Texans walk away with it. I don't see the Texans losing at all. You put a stamp on it. Texans will not lose today.
All right. Rios, what is your take? I'm gonna have how do you call it? Carl get the last word on this one. Rios, what do you think?
Well, yeah, we had mentioned on the other show, like we both expect it to be a blowout because we're not Tennessee. The offense is gonna put points on the
Thank God. Thank God we're not Tennessee.
You're never gonna hear our coach say, we would have won the game if we punted on first down. So
Stop the glazing, Grover. Stop the glazing.
Español.
Español. No, but I think it's basically pick your poison. You can choose to stop the run, stuff the box, but then you have, guys like Tank Dell or Stephon Diggs single covered, and good luck with that. So
All right.
I'm thinking probably see a couple pick sixes tonight. I think this defense baits Caleb into making some mistakes because watching him last year at USC when he played against ranked opponents, didn't look great, and I think lights might be a little too bright for him tonight.
All right. On this, for me, what I will say is this: I think what concerns me a bit might be a little bit of the Texans secondary. Now, the only thing they did give up a few, especially the safeties. That's to me that's the main area of concern. As far as Kamara Lassiter and Derek Stingley, I think they're going to be fine there. It's just the safety that do kind of concern me a little bit. I do want to see them play Jalen Petrie like in that role, like they did at Baylor. I think he's very efficient there, and it does help out in the linebacking stuff. But Jimmy Ward is my area of concern, really. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Jimmy Ward is an area of concern.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, I think he's kind of slowing down. So if
The
Caleb,
answer is yes. The answer is yes. It's cool.
Yeah. If Caleb Williams looked at the film, they're going to target Jimmy Ward.
Take some deep shots.
Yeah, take some deep shots. So I think that's the area of weakness.
In the comments, please.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna take. I think it'll be some deep shots there that do concern me. Aside from that, I think the offensive line might also be an area of concern for me as well. Mainly just because of how many sacks CJ Stroud took last week. So I'm hoping they pieced that up. They fixed it up. They fixed it, but I don't know. That was a little bit of area of concern. Aside from that, I think Chicago's corners are going to be in for a fun time against the three receivers, and I think Joe Mixon's gonna be a big contributor, and along with I think Cam Akers is going to have some fun as well. So if I am going to make a prediction, I think it'll be 30-17 Texans over the Bears.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm
Right,
bro. It's gonna be 42-13 Bears. I mean,
Okay.
40,
Wow.
Texans. 42.
I'm trying to be fair here, Carl. I'm trying to be fair here, Carl.
No.
The-
We're done. We're done with these two. Now I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Poppy's banned from the show now.
And then there was
There we go.
Don't let him in.
Change us
Don't
up.
let him back in.
There you go.
Oh my god.
This is
Well,
what we're running.
wow.
Go ahead, Carl.
Y'all
So
need to get it
the
together.
number that I threw out during the Bears Country podcast that we did our predictions on, the number that I put out that the Texans scoring, I got flamed. They're like, "Oh my god, how can you think the Bears are going to give up this many points?" Yada yada yada. The numbers that you guys are throwing out is downright disrespectful. The Bears have a good defense.
That's the point.
Poppy was
the
talking about
intent.
how the way Caleb Williams performs is like almost linked and dictates how the Bears defense plays. That's not the
No,
case.
I'm just
I
saying
mean,
both things
Caleb
have
Williams-
to happen. I'm just saying
Caleb
both things
Williams
have to happen.
could throw 3 interceptions, but that doesn't mean that the Bears won't be able to get 4 interceptions and 10 sacks.
They won't.
Those numbers are all
They won't.
fictitious. They will not happen.
Yeah,
But,
I mean,
The one question I wanted to ask Carlos while he was talking about his areas of concerns, I know who Derek Stingley is. He's a great player. I don't know anyone else in your secondary. Jimmy Ward, is that the name that you mentioned? Is that the safety?
For the safety
That's the
position.
safety.
Yeah, that's the area of
Right, so
concern.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Ward, I remember him playing well for the 49ers back years ago. So he's still playing for you guys. That's kind of, I'm going to have to agree with you. He's a little bit too
he's,
old.
He's one of
He's
D'Amico's
old.
guys. When D'Amico signed here, he was one of the first players that they
Yeah,
signed.
Because
they
D'Amico
replaced him.
Ryans was either a defensive coordinator or just underneath for the 49ers, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, he was an
Yeah, so
assistant,
the-
and then he became the defensive coordinator, and then he came here to Houston.
Was he the D coordinator after Salah went to the Jets? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that San Francisco staff is fantastic. But
So
we-
go
roster.
ahead. So I mean, so the thing with the secondary again, it's just mainly it's just Jimmy Ward that does concern me. They have a guy that they drafted called Caden Bullock. He had an interception last week. That guy,
and
that kid,
I think he played well against Caleb Williams in college. I think that was something we
Yes,
discussed
that's
this
correct, yeah.
Thursday. Okay,
Yeah.
so all that to say, Valus Jones won't be your deep threat, thank God, because he can't catch a fucking pass. Sorry for saying that. But Tyler Scott, who was inactive last week, is inactive now, and I'm going to spin it in a positive that Keenan Allen is out, because if you look, I watched the quarterback school, JT O'Sullivan's video on Caleb Williams.
he's
He felt that the game plan was almost to force feed Keenan Allen, which when you look at it in a third, a more even view, I think that's true. Just because they wanted to get him integrated into the offense, whatever the case is. All that to say, I think that the Bears will be more diverse today, and hopefully someone like a Tyler Scott can take the top off and get a nice, deep shot there. As for a prediction, I thought that the Texans right now are just a little bit too much of something for the Bears to overcome. Mr. Stephon Diggs has traditionally, especially on the Vikings, been a Bears killer, and he has not had the chance to settle in and become the locker room cancer just yet. Not causing you guys any issues just now.
Hey, don't
I think
jinx
he'll have a
it,
great.
brother.
I think
Team
he'll
captain.
have it. I think The Bears have 8 captains. The captain in the NFL.
We have
nowadays-
7.
I wish it meant more. More. But all that to say, I think that the Texans at home with a very loud crowd and a very energetic team, I think you guys are just a little bit too much. I said 28-24 Texans win.
Okay, I see that. Yeah, no, I think one guy that I forgot to mention on the secondary. Look out for Kamari Lassiter as well. He has
Talk to him,
played.
Brandon.
We
Talk to him.
Wow,
Talk to him.
wow!
Yes,
If
he
that's
had
not
cancer.
comment of the
Yes, he had
year,
Cancer hopefully could be cured. I mean, we won't talk about the government and all that stupid shit, but
Yeah, that's for another
I'm
show.
very happy to hear
That's
that.
for another show.
That's for another show. Wow, Brandon
There's
with
a line
the
perpetuated by the
comment.
government.
Wow. Wow, Carl, I was going to buy you a beer till the Diggs cancer comment.
Hey, man, it's just a fact. I mean, he got Josh Allen off the ground in Buffalo, and once he wore out his welcome, now he's on the Texans. It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
You can love the player. I also don't love the guy. So,
What was the thing? Don't hate the player, hate the game?
yeah, I mean, I hate the player, but I don't hate his game at all. He's a good player.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Carl, thank you so much for joining us, man. Honestly, I'm hoping for a great game. Texans Bears is going to be exciting.
Me too.
Honestly, guys, follow Carl at Thy and Smi on X, and also please give them a sub to their YouTube channel as well. They have amazing Bears content as well. Very informative, very detailed. It's great stuff. Please check them out. Also, don't forget to show us some love as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at JustFans22, and of course at RIG at JustFansPod. We got a little bit of merch coming up. Hopefully, I got the mug, and I got a little bit of a coaster right here as well. Boom! So check us out. Probably I'll send you guys a link later. I'll put out the link later. Also, if you're in the Texans if the Texans on office, just a reminder. Shh. As soon as Texans are on offense, it definitely helps out the offense for sure. All right, guys.
If you guys see me on TV, I'll be the guy on the roof with the binoculars.
Interesting. Okay, I was going to ask where you're sitting, Rios, but okay.
Yeah.
Alan,
how do you,
Shout out, Alan.
I have to say this, Alan. How's it feel with the Cowboys loss today?
Fuck them boys.
All right, J-Rock, thank you, man. Appreciate y'all. That's going to be it from us all the way from Houston.
Y'all stay
Take
safe.
care of yourselves. We'll see y'all next week. Again, big shout out to our friend Ty here, Carl from the Thy and Smi Podcast. Appreciate y'all for all the way from the H. Peace.
Fuck the Bears.
Southwest A-League, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans. If you ain't never been down here, but rule number one, you gon' respect us. Just fans in my speakers, new one drop, they bout to bless us. I might right through the SWAT, playing just fans right through your spot. Look, and I don't know what you thought, but right here, dog, we gon' rep the squad. Got